Hey everybody, Sylvie K here, and today I'm going to be making Uzbekistan Shurpa. Um, it's a soup, and so what I have here, I have um, a chuck roast, um, which is just as good as sirloin, and I couldn't afford a $57 rack of lamb that had about 6 bones in it, so I have some lamb stew, and I also have some beef ribs. And so now I'm going to put this in the pot and let it cook for about an hour and a half. Now that I've had my meat in the pot for a little bit and I've skimmed off some of the foam, I'm going to add a whole onion that's just cut in quarters and let this cook a little bit longer. I also added 4 large cloves of garlic smash, and now I'm going to add the bundle of cilantro stems and roots to this. Okay, so this has been cooking for about a half an hour longer, and so now I'm going to remove the onion and the meat and let it cool and cut it up into smaller pieces and empty my broth and add fresh water to this. Now I've emptied out the first batch of broth that I cooked this in, and I have proportioned the meat into smaller pieces. And so now I'm going to let this cook and finish skimming off the rest of the foam so I'll have a clearer broth. Now what I have also, I have some saffron and some Himalayan salt in here, and I'm going to crush this up, and I'm going to add some of the beef broth to it. Okay, so I crushed up my saffron and my salt somewhat, and I'm just gonna let it sit here and bloom in this beef broth for a bit. And I also have some carrots that I've chopped up and 1 hot pepper. I have some red onions that I've sliced in half moons. And I have various colors of bell peppers here. And initially, Uzbekistanians use fresh tomatoes to make shurpa, but I'm just going to go ahead and add a can of diced tomatoes because the tomatoes I have I want to use for something else. And I also have some potatoes that have been cut in relatively large pieces. And towards the end, I'll add these green onions. Now that I've let this come to a boil again, I'm going to add my carrots. And my saffron mixture. And also my onions. Let those cook till my carrots are almost tender. Now I'm going to add my pepper and my bell peppers. Let those cook for a bit. Meantime, while my soup is finishing up, I'm going to make some cornbread. I'd really like to make some other kind of bread, but it's a little too cool today for me to be able to have some bread rise. So what I have 1 cup of cornmeal, 1 cup of flour, and to that I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of sugar. And on the stove I have melting some Crisco, which I will be using 1/4 cup of. 4 teaspoons of baking powder. And 1 teaspoon of salt. And while I'm waiting for my soup, or my cornbread for the oven to come up to temperature, I'm adding my tomatoes, and I'm going to add my potatoes. Also going to add a fair amount of salt to this. As well as a good sprinkling of cilantro and my green onions. My soup is finished cooking, and as you can see, it has a relatively clear broth, and with the initial meat water that you poured off, you could freeze that, or what I'm going to do with mine, I'm going to add it to my doggy's food. So my cornbread is just about ready to come out of the oven. It's been in there for about 25 minutes. Now, I'm not sure wherever I got this cornbread recipe, but it's the best recipe I've ever had. My cornbread always comes out perfect every time. Sometimes I'll change it and do buttermilk cornbread. So here's my Shurpa soup, and I'm going to garnish it with a little bit of fresh cilantro and some more green onions. And I hope somebody tries this. It kind of looks like a regular beef soup, but it's not. And with that, I hope everybody's well. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'm going to go feed myself. Bye-bye.